follow the rainbow, and maybe you'll see a pot of gold. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Beware the Board, a horror podcast where we watch a randomly selected horror movie every single week. Except, Ben, this time, it's St. Patrick's Day.
Well, it
Hold
was
on.
St. Patrick's Day.
We could make it.
You're going to hang out with your girlfriend after we're done recording today. You are not editing this whole episode and then releasing it
I could.
tomorrow. Because we're recording this the day before St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah. We kind of,
So,
well,
Bob...
we got boomed by it, is what I'm going to say right now.
Yeah, so we did it last week, so that took up when we should have recorded this episode. Because that was like 8 hours?
Yeah, we
Something
spent
like that.
8 hours on one episode, which is
wild.
criminal.
But then we were supposed to record this episode 2 days before St. Patty's Day. But Bob kind of forgot and was like...
I didn't forget.
I asked you to record on Saturday, and you went, "No, it's fine."
Well, yeah. So what he means is I didn't forget about recording. I forgot what day St. Patrick's Day was.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was Monday. I thought it was like Tuesday or Wednesday. I thought I was going to have like a couple of days after we recorded to edit it.
So this is probably coming out late.
Probably.
I think I mentioned that on the It episode. Like,
It might not come out on time, but...
yeah. So, yeah, we're doing so good recently.
Hey, so in more positive news, because you're being a negative Nancy right now.
I love being a negative Nancy.
I know you do.
It's like my whole shtick.
It's like the whole thing about the podcast. We ended up making some new social media. We talked about it on the It episode that came out, but we basically want to diversify. And I made an Instagram for us, and it is doing really well, and I really appreciate the support. I just wanted to mention, like, for everyone that's following it, watching our shorts, like, thank you. Like, that's really cool. I think we're already, like, I think I made the account last Monday or Tuesday, like, after we finished recording, and we're already at, like, 3K views or something on the total, and, like, a bunch of interaction. It's really cool just to see the audience interaction with the podcast. So, thank you. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely.
That was cool.
It's always cool to see. Because, again, shitty little thing we do in our recording studio.
Our recording studio.
My recording studio.
Ben's bedroom, which is less than 100 feet, like in a cube.
Yeah, but that's what you want out of a recording studio.
Small, compact, and plus sign shaped.
Yeah.
Kinda.
At least it's thematically relevant.
Yeah, well, good theming, I guess.
Anyways, St. Patty's Day.
Yeah.
We're not doing any news because this is
A holiday episode.
a holiday episode. So we can get into it, I guess.
Yeah. Do you want to explain how this works for the audience?
Oh, I guess. If you haven't been around for the couple of years we've been doing this, which, oh my God.
That's weird to say.
We do a St. Patrick's Day episode, and originally, I think our first movie was St. Patrick's Day themed. It was
Yeah.
The Leprechaun. Atrocious.
Horrible.
Horrible movie. I do like Lappy Boy.
Sure.
Warwick Davis is great,
He is really good.
but that first movie is
Bad.
bad, but more importantly, I think kind of boring.
Oh, so true.
The later ones get interesting because they're so bad it's good, like Leprechaun in Space.
Or Leprechaun in the Hood.
Leprechaun in the Hood is legitimately the best one of those, but that's more so because I think they wrote a movie and then just put the Leprechaun in it. In either case, we watched that, and then I was like, I don't know if there's any other good St. Patty's Day episodes that are going to be like St. Patty's Day themed.
Yeah, that's fair.
So we just decided to do Irish films. Last year was the first year we did an Irish film. We watched Grabbers,
So
which
good.
was amazing. I think that's the best St. Patty's Day movie we're going to watch here because it was really, really funny. I'd highly recommend you go watch it. It's super Irish.
Yeah, I didn't want to spoil it, but it gets out of hand and it's really fun.
Super stereotypical Irish. So today we're watching another Irish film, and I decided to go with one I haven't seen before.
I love when you do that.
So we are doing a more recent film from 2020
Oh, sweet.
called Boys from County Hell.
Huh, wow, okay. I don't know why, but the title scares me. Boys from County Hell.
Anyways, description. Be careful of what slumbers in the Irish countryside.
Great. This is what scares me about this concept of doing Irish horror is...
Because fairies are insanely scary.
I was going to say fairies. Like, there are just a lot of Irish folklore that is so freaky and actually horrifying. And this feels like it's going to lean more into that than Grabbers did. Because Grabbers is more like a sci-fi movie, kind of.
My favorite are, what are they, Doolahans?
Oh, I don't know.
The headless guys?
Oh, yeah. Those are good. But I'm kind of scared now. Which I haven't really been that freaked out on an episode
recently,
recently.
except for it.
Well, it fucked me up, but like I didn't have nightmares. It's been a long time since I've been like really scared. You know what I mean?
I mean, I could have gotten a spider movie if you want.
An Irish spider movie.
Yeah. They drink a lot.
The spiders or the Irishmen?
The spiders are drunk.
Ah.
Anyways, length, it's an hour and 28 minutes long.
Oh, a normal
So
length
not
movie.
that long. Rated NR, so not rated.
Oh, whoa, not rated. That's cool.
Not like not rated, not rated. They just didn't get a rating.
No, I know.
IMDb gave it a 5.9 out of 10.
That's pretty good.
Tomato meter of 82%.
Hell yeah.
Audience score of 63%. Metascore of 56%. And a user score of 7.7. So kind of weirdly all over the place.
I mean, but it's a solid span of like 50 to 80.
It's a decent range, but it's wild to be like consistently like 2 or 3 of them are around 50 and then a couple are around
70, 80.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
For awards, it has 1 win and 3 nominations.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
So pretty nice, especially for a smaller film.
Mhm.
A lot of this stuff from like the UK or just any other country besides America doesn't really get the biggest releases
Which
because of
sucks.
just how Hollywood works. But for notable actors, we have Jack Rowan as Eugene Moffat. He was Harry in Benjamin.
I don't know that.
Great movie title. Great
Yeah, I knew
movie
you were
title.
going to make that joke, but I just don't know that movie.
That's why I had to write down that movie title.
Oh my God.
Nigel O'Neill as Francie Moffat. They were Donald in Bad Day for the Cut. Louisa Harland as Claire McCann. They were Nell Jackson from Renegade Nell. They were on 8 episodes in 2024. Michael Hugh as S.P. McCallie. They were Daniel Thompson from Chapelwaite. They were on 7 episodes in 2021. John Lynch as George Bogue. He was Wolfstan in Black Death. Frothy as William Bogue. He was Kazi from Hawkeye. He was on 6 episodes in 2021.
I never watched Hawkeye. I heard it
didn't
was
either.
okay.
That was the issue with it. I don't think a lot of people saw it.
Yeah.
Jordan Renzo as Christian. They were Maltese Andrzejewski, something like that, from Class. They were on 8 episodes in 2016. Layla Rhodey as Elliot. We've actually seen this guy before. Last year.
Oh, shit.
He was Patty Barrett in Grabbers.
Which, I don't
Old guy.
The old guy?
Yeah.
He's back.
Yes.
He was one of the best parts of that movie.
Oh, I know.
So funny.
Morgan C. Jones as Charlie Hart. They were The Undertaker in Twig. Andrea Irvine as Pauline Bogue. They were a tour guide in Ella Enchanted. Did you ever read that book?
Mm-mm.
It's a good book. Very different from the movie, though.
Is it different from the movie? Because isn't that like the concept of that Cinderella gets teleported to like the modern day or some shit, right?
No.
Or am I thinking of something else?
So like sorry, I'm going to have an Ella Enchanted rant here. You should be used to this by now. The whole concept with that book, and forgive me if I get anything wrong here. I haven't read it since I was in elementary school. But she's like cursed or blessed by her fairy godmother, however you want to see it. If someone tells her to do something, she can't say no. She has to do it.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Yeah. And the movie, again, haven't seen it since like elementary school, is like set in a weird, you know how Shrek is where it's weirdly modern and far, far away? It's like that.
Oh.
But she's also an adult. In the book, she's like, I believe, an actual child. But they're very different because one's like more adult.
That makes sense.
But good. Really do like that book. Robert Strange, as he was using the name Robert Nairn in this movie. And then he's playing Abhartak. It's an Irish name. I can't pronounce these things correctly.
Fair enough.
He played Glug, Barrowite, Dying Orc, Krug, Lurka, Orc, Other Orc, Snoggle, and Warrior Orc from The Lord of the Rings of Power.
Holy shit.
He was on 12 episodes between 2022 and 2024.
God bless.
So, monster stuff.
Yeah.
Emma Pates as Michelle. They were Martha Kane from Pennyworth. They were on 27 episodes between 2019 and 2022. Did you know that show existed?
Never even heard of it.
I didn't know it existed. It's about Pennyworth, like Batman's butler.
Oh, it's about Alfred?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Before he became a butler. It's about him being in like, because he was in the military.
Yeah,
Secret
yeah. He was
Service
like
or whatever.
MI6 or whatever, like the
Yeah.
British like Secret Service type people.
So it's apparently about that, which is super cool.
That is really cool.
Didn't know that existed.
I didn't either.
Might have to go watch it at some point.
We got our weekly Batman talk in. Every episode, it somehow comes up.
Not every episode. We haven't done it for a while.
90% of our episodes, Batman comes up.
No, just a good
Benjamin.
amount.
A lot.
And then David Pierce as Cathal. They were a priest and the Banshees of Inisherin, which is
I've heard that movie's really good.
I don't think I've seen it yet, but it's supposed to be.
It's got
Really,
Sabrina
really good.
Carpenter's ex-boyfriend in it.
Yeah.
Barry, what's his face?
I don't know why you know her ex-boyfriend.
My girlfriend really loves Sabrina Carpenter.
You know what, that makes sense.
Like, is in love with that woman. I think she would leave me for Sabrina Carpenter, honestly.
Did she see the Nosferatu movie?
Yeah, we went and saw it together.
Sabrina Carpenter's in that one, right?
No.
No. What did we just see with her? She directed it.
Sabrina Carpenter. Nope. So you're thinking of some. Bro, what are you talking about?
What am I talking about?
Sabrina Carpenter's a singer. She's like 5 foot tall.
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking of,
John Carpenter?
no, because we watched something and it was someone's daughter. They just directed it.
Zelda Williams directed
Yes, Zelda Williams, because it was
Lisa Frankenstein.
Robert Williams'
Daughter.
And then in Nosferatu, it's
Lily Rose Depp.
yeah,
Which is Johnny Depp's
daughter.
Yeah. That was a long line for you to have gotten to that from Sabrina Carpenter.
I went Carpenter, and then immediately I started thinking of John Carpenter and the Carpenters, the band, because John Carpenter makes that joke all the time.
Do you see that he was going to be live in concert again for one more time?
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool. I'd like to go, but it's in LA.
So he's doing one show in New York City.
Is he?
Yeah. I don't have the money for
No,
any
me
of
either,
it,
but it would be
it's cool.
so cool.
Yeah. Director is Chris Ball. He directed 9 episodes of Rec from 2022 to 2024. He's also one of the writers. He, alongside Brendan Mullen, both worked on Bad Day for the Cut. So Chris Ball has like an actual screenplay credit, and Brendan Mullen has a story credit.
Oh, okay.
If you didn't pick up on this, a lot of smaller actors, because this wasn't a big project. And then a lot of them work in like the UK, so we're not really familiar with many of them, which always kind of sucks. Budget's estimated at $3 million,
That's a good chunk of money.
which is decent. Because it's from like Ireland, this film got funders from like bigger organizations.
Oh,
I think
okay.
we've talked about that before when we talked about New Zealand and Australia,
Mm-hmm.
because they'll like sponsor stuff coming out of there. So for instance, this one got sponsored by Screen Ireland and Northern Ireland Screen. I guess both gave them pretty big grants. That being said, the box office, which I think was just for like film conventions, what are they called?
Like film festivals?
Yeah, film festivals. I think that's the only like kind of screening they really got.
Mm-hmm.
Was 102,000.
Eh.
So not too bad.
Not too bad.
Didn't get an actual like big budget release. Mostly because it was bought by Shudder.
Ah.
So I assume they actually did make some money back.
They
but-
probably just sold the rights to it and
Yeah.
make some royalty on streaming.
And you know, once royalty stuff's weird,
It is weird.
because like nowadays I don't think they sell royalties anymore. They just kind of sell it.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully they made their money back that way, but I don't have any analytics on that. As you know, country of origins Ireland, and then also United Kingdom. And tagline: hard work never killed anyone until now.
What is this fucking movie?
It's on brand.
No, I know. I'm racking my brain trying to think of what this movie is possibly about. This is one of the first films in a while that we've gone in, and I just don't know.
I know,
I just don't know, and that's awesome. I love that.
but don't worry, Bob. It's on brand.
Okay.
So don't really have a lot of facts for this because again, small thing. But this film is actually a remake of a short of the same name.
Whoa.
That, I believe it's Chris Ball did
That's really cool.
alongside. I'm guessing alongside Brendan Mullen, or is it just Brendan Mullen that did the short? I don't know. There was a short of this, which is always cool to see. I think that's how a lot of like smaller movies start, because you make a short and then you show it to investors. What's a good example? Evil Dead did that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Although I believe they had like an actual movie instead of a short. Boys from County Hell received its world premiere at the 2020 Tribeca Film Festival, which is a pretty big film festival.
That's a big one, yeah.
And then at the 2021 Neuchâtel International Fantastic Film Festival, Ball and the film won the jury prize for Best European Fantastic Film,
That's really cool.
which is really cool. But that's all I got on it, so we are going to get into it.
Okay. I'm scared. I'm scared because I don't know. And that is
Isn't that the best feeling?
yes. It's part of the reason I love doing the podcast. Because like sometimes we come in and you name a movie, I go, "Oh, I know what this movie is." And we watch it, I go, "That was a good movie." It's the surprise of things, you know?
My favorite is when you go into a movie, you think you know what it's about,
Oh, yeah.
and then it's completely different.
Those are good too.
Like fucking Predator.
yeah. Predator and Scream are pretty bad. I think the Scream one is so funny.
Because you're so convinced
I'm
you know the
so
answer.
I listened to that episode like fairly recently, and it is so good because I know. So if you like Scream and you haven't heard our episode on it, go listen to it. It's so funny because I have it so wrong.
Anyways, that's all I got. So
Okay. Yeah, we'll be back in a minute. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We just finished watching Boys from County Hell,
yes.
which, I'm going to be honest, I don't get the title of the movie still. I mean, I do, but I don't. I don't hate it. But after watching it, it's okay.
I mean, the title makes sense.
It does. It totally makes sense, but it's just, I guess it's because I think that's a very Irish thing, or maybe UK thing, to like refer to the county like that.
We do that in Kentucky.
Yes. Okay.
I made the joke about how you know someone's
know
from
you
Kentucky
did that,
when they're like,
but
I'm
I
from
don't know that other places do that.
blank county.
I know that we do that.
We do that. So does Ireland and stuff.
Yeah. So that's why I was like very confused by the title when we started the movie. I was like, what's going on? It makes more sense once you watch it.
Yeah. I don't think their county's actually named Hell.
No, I would hope not. If it was, that would be very, very on the nose and kind of crazy.
That'd be funny, though.
It would be funny.
But yeah, anyways, you liked it?
Yeah.
Okay. I was about to do my brief little synopsis of the film, but I'll do my usual spiel first. We always recommend you go watch the film before we spoil anything.
100% of the time.
However, if you want a little bit of a rundown of what the film's actually about, I'm going to do that now, and then we'll get into actual spoilers. So, you've been warned. Now, I kept it pretty vague about what this movie was
You
about.
did. I knew nothing coming in.
And it took Bob, I don't know, a while to figure out what it was about.
Yeah. Well, I had a hint at the cold open, and then I said, okay, but maybe we're not doing that. And then I was like, oh, we're doing that.
Yeah, so it's on brand.
It is on brand.
For this season that's been going on for like 4 months.
Because we have really messed up our recording schedule.
Yeah. It's a vampire film.
Yeah.
An Irish vampire film, which is really interesting.
Super cool.
But what it's about is it's about these boys.
The boys.
Yeah, the boys. And a chick.
Well, yeah.
And Francis.
Well, Francie's like, I don't know. He's around.
He's around. Anyways, it's about these group of like friends, and they end up waking up an old vampire.
Yeah.
And shenanigans ensue.
Quickly.
Well, it's over 2 months.
Well, okay. Sorry. In the movie, it's pretty fast.
Yeah. Everything goes down within the span of a night for the most part, but yeah, it's pretty fast. So if you want to see some Irishmen deal with a vampire, and also get drunk,
Yeah.
this
That
is
does
probably
happen.
right up your alley. With that being said, we're gonna get into it. So right up the top, Bob, you have anything you want to talk about?
Yes. So I think we should start with the fact that, yes, this is a vampire movie. In the vein of like a Dracula or, a Nosferatu.
In fact, they reference Dracula
A lot. Which is something I wanted to talk about. Because I love the fact that this is sort of a meta vampire movie.
It's like a vampire deconstruction film.
It works with all of the established tropes of the vampire genre. While also, I don't know how true any of the stuff they talk about in this movie is, but dropping like vampire lore that is specific to Ireland, which I think is super, super cool.
Yeah, so it's one of those things like vampires as like an idea have vaguely existed for a long time across a couple different cultures.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just like, we use the general term vampires right now, but a lot of the old kind of lore about how you dealt with something like that is very different from modern day accepted stuff like sunlight kills, because that's basically from Nosferatu. What else?
Stick through the heart,
Stick through the heart, garlic, running
can't
water.
see reflection,
Yeah.
running water, yeah.
But they're all based on older stuff, and this one deals with older stuff and plays around with the idea that, like, they're trying all these modern ways to kill vampires, and none of them work.
And it's really funny.
It is very funny.
There's a scene where I think Francie goes, what if you cut his head off? What is it going to do then? It's so fucking funny. It's just so, like, on brand of, like, I mean, yeah, you're right, but it's a supernatural creature. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah, and I do think the way they end up with is a pretty cool solution.
Oh, 100%. It is
So,
really cool.
The way they have to do it in this universe is you have to bury the vampire and then place rocks over top of it, like a monument kind of thing. What's it called? A cairn?
Cairn? I mean, I think that's just a name for a tomb or a burial site of some kind. But it might be specific to the rocks. I actually don't know.
I think it's that type of rock burial.
No, I really enjoy how much this movie leans into the vampire trope instead of shying away from it and trying to be unique, because by leaning into it, you create a meta experience that is unique to this movie. And I really, really like it a lot.
Yes. And like everything stems from how these vampires are different art. It's like centered around the whole stone thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really interesting.
No, I do too. I think it's really cool.
I think that's a good jumping off point for like how the vampires are in this film.
Sure, we can talk about that.
They're pretty interesting.
They're cool.
We see a couple of them. I'm going to break them into two camps. There's kind of the main vampire and the thralls. The thralls are people who get turned into a vampire as like regular people.
Mm-hmm.
And the main ones, what's his name?
I think it's like Abernack.
I think it's Abernack. And their designs are similar, but it's kind of like a difference in like how far stuff has progressed.
Mm-hmm.
But they're pretty cool. They
I like
kind of remind me of, and I might be misremembering this, but like the vampires from Supernatural.
Oh God, I haven't seen a Supernatural episode with vampires in a long time.
I haven't either, but I vaguely remember them being kind of similar. They have like all sharp teeth in this movie.
Yeah,
and otherwise they're humanoid.
Yeah, I think the coolest part about the vampires is, of course, the group of people encounter them and don't know how to deal with them, but they're literally unkillable.
Yeah, probably one of the funniest scenes in the movie is someone gets staked through the chest.
Yeah.
Their heart comes out on the stake, and they're still running around.
Trying to kill people, and it's really, really funny. It's really good. I like it.
And then there's the other type of vampire, Abernack. That's what we're going to call him from now on.
I'm pretty sure that's what he's called.
Because I think that's right. He looks necrotic, like he's shriveled and like his skin's turned black. Kind of like Nosferatu in the new movie.
He looks very similar to Nosferatu in the new movie, except he's much more gaunt and corpse-like.
Yeah, and then his teeth have kind of progressed along the whole fashion of getting sharper, where they're no longer like sharp human teeth. They're just like
a pile of like shards of teeth in his mouth,
kind
almost.
of jutting out of his mouth.
Yeah.
It's like a whole snaggletooth thing. But it's pretty cool.
It's such a good creature design.
I think that's a great creature design. Just because it looks like he was buried in the ground for hundreds of years.
Yeah, he looks old. I think that is the big takeaway for me is like he looks much less like a undead corpse and much more just like a corpse. Like I like the Nosferatu design in the new movie because he looks undead and freaky and like rotten, but this guy doesn't look rotten. He just looks old.
Yeah,
which
like
I really like.
So yeah, I think it's a great creature design, and props to the actor who played him.
100%. Because he moves in such weird ways because he's a fucking corpse.
That, and I think the actor had to, like, suck in his gut the whole time he was playing.
I mean, you could see his whole rib cage. It's all, like, designed out. It looks really good. While we're on the topic of the creature, this is something that I super appreciated about this movie. We don't see the monster for, like, an hour.
Yeah, we see his, like, figure.
Yep.
Shadowed in the distance. But we don't actually see what he looks like till maybe the last 10 minutes of the movie.
Like, yeah, maybe the last 10, 15, 20 minutes or something like that.
We see his foot.
Yeah. But it's really effective because, like, we know as the audience and the characters know it's a vampire.
Yeah, and if you've watched the trailers, it's spoiled for you.
That sucks.
Which sucks, as always.
But because we take so long to establish a known entity of the horror genre, like, we know what a vampire looks like. Like, I'm looking at Dracula on your wall right now.
Blah, blah, blah.
He's just so much more unique and different that because they wait so long, it hits really hard because he's so cool.
Yeah, and props to the director. It takes patience to do that.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think it's really hard, but it's very effective because it's the classic thing with Alien. It's like the thing you can imagine is always scarier.
It's so much worse
than what you actually have.
Yes, 100%. And that's something else I want to talk about is this movie was made for $3 million. They stretched the fuck out of their budget for this movie.
Yeah, it's not very gory.
No.
And they don't have a lot of action, but the film relies heavily on how the characters pull off their characterization. And everyone does a great job.
It's really good.
It's just a lot of back and forth dialogue, and everyone feels real. It's probably the best way I could describe it.
Yeah. I really love the shift in focus in this vampire movie from the monster. And the monster is important, and like it is a plot device that comes up later in the movie.
But it's very much a background thing.
But it is a background thing because a lot of this film is about this interpersonal like community thing happening
in this small town
in Ireland, and it provides a lot of progression through the monster, but you don't need that because I was kind of invested to begin with because I think the base story and the idea in and of itself is just really well written and executed that the monster kind of fell on the like back burner for this one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you don't need it, but it's a nice touch.
And that's kind of what I like to see in films like this.
Me too, 100%.
We've seen a lot of low budget stuff here, and I always think the most effective ones are the ones that don't try to do too much for their budget.
You have to know your limit.
And so they have to pad it with something else. And when you do a good job, padding it with something effective like characterization, you end up with a decent film.
Well, because I think if you pad well enough and the characterization and all that stuff is good, it makes the monster stuff hit so much harder because we are invested in these characters.
Yeah. And like I said, great characterization. We have Francie,
Yep.
who's like the I can't show emotion classic stereotype father figure.
Yeah.
And he pushes it to the extreme.
I think one of my favorite scenes of the whole movie is Eugene tries to give him a hug. He says, "I'm not hugging you. What are you, 5?"
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, that's so fucking brutal, bro.
I think you were like, I kind of don't like him. And then immediately after, you decide you liked him again.
Well, because there's an arc to the character. Like, they do, and that's what makes it good.
You can tell the dad cares.
Yes, he is a bad father, but he's trying so hard.
Without showing any affection.
Yes. And it's really funny.
There's Eugene, who's like our main character, and he's like, I don't know. I don't want to say a bum, but like he's kind of stuck in this small town not doing anything. And it's mostly about his reaction or his relationships with some of the people he's close to. So William's his best friend who's leaving. Claire is
William's girlfriend.
But I think they've known each other for a while.
Oh, yeah. They've definitely been friends for a long time. Because you can tell when you meet Claire for the second time or something, she like starts shitting on her boyfriend with his best friend, and they like have a good dynamic, and it feels good.
I assume they're all childhood friends.
Yeah.
And then there's SP, who comes into the situation recently, and he's
he's
Bob.
No, he does.
But
Don't say that.
an alcoholic.
Okay, that's fair. I'm not an alcoholic, so. No, SP's really good because this is something we haven't really talked about. What makes this movie so good is that it is very well written and it's very emotional. Like, it's meant to be sort of a character piece about community and the ramifications a vampire has on that.
And notably, destroying history.
Yes. But the big thing is that this movie's just really funny. Like, it is just really, really funny. And that is what makes, like, all of this scary stuff feel really intense, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would actually put out there that I felt like this film was generally really lighthearted.
Yeah.
Because of how funny it is and how certain characters do not take the situation seriously at all.
They refuse, and it's so good.
And to me, it made the stakes a lot less tense. Like, even though I care about these characters and what happens to them, I was like, yeah, that's what I expect.
Yeah.
And that's cool to see. It reminds me of some of the more goofy horror films we watched on here, like Zombie for Sale. It very much has a similar feel as that film.
That's a very good example. Because, like, Zombie for Sale is a very, very good movie, but it's semi-serious, but it's just really funny. And the comedic elements are what I think makes the fact that they play with vampire tropes in this film so interesting, because they make jokes about vampires in the moment.
Yeah.
And it's really good.
I guess it's that there's like a layer of absurdism in this film that makes it really interesting.
It's almost overacted in a lot of ways. Like, it's just so over the top, I guess. Like, I think the fact that Francie refuses to believe it's a vampire after watching some of the shit he sees is so good.
Dude's impaled through the chest and he's like, he's just drunk.
He's just drunk. And SP's like, maybe he did some coke. I did that once. I don't remember what happened. It just feels like, honestly, it feels really real. Like, in the moment, these characters are coping by saying funny shit, and they just can't handle, like, the weight of the situation. Because I'm going to be honest, it gets out of hand really quickly.
Yeah.
And a lot of people can potentially live or die based on what happens. So there's just, like, a lot of pressure, I guess, on this group of schmucks.
And they don't deal with the issue
for
like
don't.
multiple hours.
They try so hard, but they can't figure it out.
So, yeah, all that stuff's really great. I love how this film is padded out. But there's some other interesting things in here, besides, like, just the gore and stuff. I'm going to point out what I said about the history thing. Mm-hmm. This film's all about, like, remembering your history. Probably one of the most obvious ways is how Abernac comes back.
Yeah.
So, like I said, the vampires are kind of unkillable in this film.
Yeah.
And the only way to stop them is to bury them and then place a cairn over top of them. Cairn? I don't know how it's pronounced.
No.
Cairn, I believe. But they do like the whole burial stone pile over top of it. And there's a really, really notable, like, old one that's been built for Abernac. And kind of one of the main starting points for this film, for like the tension between our group of friends, is that the government is essentially building I think it's a railway.
It's some sort of, like, government works project.
Through this land that's been owned by William's family for, like, generations.
Forever.
And, not only are they going to kick like William's family out, but they're also going to destroy this essentially monument that draws everyone into this town, because it's a random backstory thing, but essentially Abernac and like the story of him being a vampire and being killed gave Bram Stoker the inspiration to write Dracula in this universe.
Yeah, they basically say like in the 16th century, Bram Stoker visited the town and heard about Abernac and said, "Oh, that's a good story," and wrote it as Dracula and went off and produced it.
I think such a great tie-in.
It's funny. The bar they go to is even called the Stoker, which is great. It's funny.
Great bar name. But, that's just a very interesting idea of like, we have some people trying to move on and leave this tiny town. And it's really just exemplified by this idea of like, okay, we're going to destroy it as we go. I think Eugene is the great example of that, because he lives in his mom's old family home, which is
a shithole.
It's
run down,
falling apart. And he doesn't want to join his dad, who runs the construction company that's destroying William's land. And it's just this kind of back and forth that I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
Then there's a couple other references. For instance, Eugene is descended from like an old family in the area. I don't know. I just think all of that's really, really cool.
No, it is cool. And I don't want to spoil it because I think the ending of this film is poignant.
It's so fucking funny though.
Oh, it's so good. But essentially, by the end of the movie, Eugene has been trying this whole time to get out of this town. He's then basically, I want to say responsible, but forced to stay at the end of the film. And he doesn't have a choice, really.
Yeah, but he's come to terms with it, and he seems happy now.
Exactly. He got over the feeling of being stuck in a small town. I think it's because by the end of the film, he's matured a lot, and now he has a purpose. Like, he feels responsible. He feels purposeful in what he's doing. It's like he's actively trying to make the town better, and that's making him feel better about it.
Yeah, and it's like this great analogy for, like, progress and things changing.
Moving on, moving forward.
Yeah. So I thought that was really cool.
It's a really great through line throughout the entire movie, too.
And
like,
then,
they do a great job with it.
What's another super cool thing? Oh, Abernac's powers.
Oh my god,
are
they're sick as
insane.
fuck.
Uh,
How have we not talked about that yet?
we kind of avoided it.
It's one of the coolest parts about this movie, in my opinion.
It's how the cold open starts.
The cold open of this film is so fucking good.
It freaked Bob out because he wasn't expecting it.
Well, also, I just think it establishes the stakes immediately.
Yeah. Abernac, once he's strong enough, can suck the blood from people, which you might be like, that's normal.
That's a vampire
suck
thing.
blood. He can do it with, like, his mind.
Yeah. Bro has blood powers. Like, blood magic.
Like,
miles.
Yeah. At least a mile. Like, from a long distance, he can just control blood and suck it out of people's eyes,
their mouth, their
nose,
their penis.
Their penis, yes. That is explicitly shown. And it's just super scary.
It's horrifying.
And it, I think, fits perfectly with this. Like, this is not a normal vampire. This thing is insane.
No, and I think that is what makes the cold open of this movie so good. Essentially, we see him suck two old people to death. That sounds bad. He sucks the blood out of two old people and kills them, right? Then it gets a hard cut to 2 months earlier. So we immediately get shown how fucking scary and powerful this creature is, only to be lulled into a false sense of security because these motherfucking boys are so funny.
Yeah. And, I think that's really cool.
It is really cool.
I think that's where a good bit of their budget went, because I think all the blood like that is CGI, because we see it trail and stuff. But I thought that
it still looks good, though.
Yeah, it's a really effective way to show that your vampire's dangerous without having gore and stuff that I think would be much harder to shoot. And I do want to mention it because it's cool, and it was a creative way to solve a problem.
100%. I really love that about this movie, because, I mean, vampires normally have some control over blood. That's sort of like a general theme. But just seeing the sheer amount of blood being sucked down the street and stuff, or out of people, it's just so unexpected and jarring in the cold open, because it, like, happens immediately. Like, it's literally these two old people sitting on a couch, and then the lady's nose just starts bleeding, and then they both start pouring blood out of their faces. And it's horrible.
Yeah, it is great. And then, kind of, I think the last thing for me, for big things I liked about this film, cinematography.
It is really good.
I thought it was good. Obviously, this is shot in Ireland. It's all really pretty. And, they're in an actual town, so that looks really nice. So there's a lot of things going for this film, but I thought they did some interesting things. I think there was a couple drone shots from, like, above that we saw at the beginning.
That's cool.
But the really big one I want to notice here is they switched a couple times from, like, a stable camera to, like a handheld.
Yeah.
And they did some really interesting shots of like following people running and stuff.
No, I do appreciate how creative they got with some of their cinematography in this, because I think it makes a lot of... My point is, a lot of the time when you make a cheap movie, you don't really worry about that because there are lots of other things you're dealing with where you can spend your money.
Or you don't know what you're doing.
Or you don't know what you're doing. In this case, they knew what they were doing, and they used their budget well. And there's some just really cool shots. There's so many shots where the Abranak is framed in the background of shots, and you can't, like, way in the distance, you can just see him in the dark or something. Or near the end when they're fighting him, there are so many really cool shots where it's split halfway. You can see Abranak down a hallway, and then the character to the left of that. And it just, they do a good job at using creative shots to create tension in a movie that otherwise would be tensionless.
Yeah, in fact, I think most of their jump scares in this film are like camera tricks where they just won't show something and then it'll cut, like pan.
Yeah.
And there's something
it's
that
good,
scares
it's effective.
Bob.
Yeah. One scared the fuck out of me at the beginning.
And it really shouldn't have.
Well, okay, bro. Come on.
Not as much as it scared you. But yeah, I think it's really good. Do you have anything else you want to mention?
I have one last thing, and it's something I like to harp on about in films when we watch them on the podcast. A lot of the time, when movies give exposition, it can feel kind of epilogue-y or monologue-y, or just sort of like they're information dumping.
It's an info dump.
This movie does an incredible job at giving us, you know, when we've been talking about vampires this whole time with all this background information and all that, they spread it out throughout the whole movie so it doesn't feel like you're learning a lot, but by the end, you know so much. Like you've learned a lot over the course, which I think is a great way to do it in a film like this, because it allows you to take the information you have and give it to you in character moments.
Yeah, because it's just like random nonsense this group is talking about.
That feels natural to them because they live here, which adds to the realism.
And I will note, they do have a lore dump at the beginning.
Yeah.
But it makes sense in universe.
That's what I was going to say, is like they make it feel natural. Like I'm learning this because I'm witnessing the world progressing and not because you're telling me.
Very specifically, the boys are conning some tourists.
Yeah,
from
they're
Canada.
fucking with some people. And it's really good. That's my last thing I want to talk about, because I feel like in movies where it's about old stuff, it can feel kind of...
I mean, the worst offender of it is Star Wars.
Yes.
Like, I like Star Wars.
The opening scrawl is brutal.
But it does start with, like, literally an opening info dump.
Yeah. Which can work.
I mean, Star Wars works.
But in horror movies, I think especially, it can feel kind of boring and take you out of the world.
Yeah, very different genre from space
But in this,
opera.
I think they did a great job.
Yeah. So, I guess that's it. You want to do recommendations?
If you want a movie from Ireland, it's very good. Super cool movie. I like it a lot.
Do you like it better than Grabbers?
I don't know.
I think it's just a very different film.
See, I would say they're very similar films.
Like, they're both very funny and very Irish, but this one was more, I don't know, classic horror.
Yeah, Grabbers is a lot more like
Sci-fi,
but it leans more into the funny elements.
Yeah.
This movie really tried to be serious at some points, and it really was, and it was good.
Yeah.
But, you know.
It's mostly like dark humor kind of stuff.
Yeah. If you like vampires, this is a super cool take on vampires, especially if you're into more like the historical aspect of vampires. I don't know how true anything they say in this movie is,
Maybe just weird vampire lore.
but it's cool. It's interesting. It's unique. And that's one of the big things that I really took away from it. I don't know if I have any more recommendations. I think those are my two big ones.
I think you took the big ones.
Yeah.
So I'm going to end with, if you like seeing movies where your main characters are just a bunch of boys getting shit-faced,
Yeah.
that's kind of
So
what this
true.
is. In some ways reminds me of This Is the End, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
the third movie in the Cornetto trilogy, I believe.
Yeah, the Edgar Wright one with Simon Pegg and
Yeah.
Nick Frost. Yeah.
It's, what's the first one?
Hot Fuzz.
No, it's
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and then...
I didn't know
This
the
is the
order.
end.
I just knew all of them.
But yeah, it's got that cool vibe. Kind of reminds me of the friend group from The Ritual
Kind
as
of.
well.
Yeah, in a certain way.
So, if you like that kind of vibe, I think this might be an interesting film for you. Just a bunch of boys being dudes.
Just a bunch of dudes being guys in Ireland. There happens to be a vampire.
He's also a dude.
He is also so just a bunch of dudes being guys was correct.
I think every vampire in this movie is a dude.
Yeah, I don't think we see any female vampires.
Oh, if you want to see a cool way for thralls to get changed,
Oh yeah, we didn't
That's
talk about that.
probably
I'm
the
kind of
most
glad we
unique
left that
part
out
of this
actually,
movie.
because I think that is an interesting reveal that I don't want to spoil.
Yeah. All right, rate it.
I like this movie. However,
I like this movie, but
it's not a 5.
no.
No, because while I do enjoy a lot of the deeper themes this movie attempts to push through, and I think a lot of the stuff they do is really interesting, I wasn't blown away. Does that make sense?
No, that makes perfect sense.
Like, it was good and I enjoyed it, but I was not changed in any way by witnessing the movie. Like, this was not a life-changing movie. Because some movies I've watched, I go, holy shit, that did something to me. That didn't do this, but it was very fun. So I think I'm going to give it a 4. Because I really like it. I think it's really good.
Okay. You know, I'm kind of in a similar boat with what you said, where I don't think this is a big, impactful film. I do think it was worth a watch, and I might recommend it to people. But
I 100% will.
It's not something I'm going to go out of my way to watch again in the same way I would, like, a very impactful film.
Like, I would show this to people around, like, Halloween time as, like, a fun movie.
Yeah, but otherwise, probably not. And, you know, that does take some points away. But I think the big thing for me is, like, I think they did great with the budget and stuff, but there's a certain, like, cheapness B-movie feeling to this movie.
Sure.
I think because obviously they didn't have a budget, but you can also tell at times they're stretching stuff. And I don't mind that. I don't. But it's something that I think most people kind of would have an issue with. So I'm going to say 3.5.
Totally fair. I was between 3.5 and a 4. So but I gave it more.
As you usually do.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone could hear me laughing a second ago on the mic. Ben said something. He said they stretched their budget really well. And I was trying to think of what scenes look kind of cheap. There's a scene where someone gets hit in the face with an animal, and it is so funny, but it looks so rough.
Oh, all the, like, actual action scenes with gore look bad.
But it's fun, so I don't care.
Yeah. It's kind of how high octane they are and how it's shot. Really sells it. But, yeah, there's some issues that could have been solved by
I think that's in the outtakes. I hope it is, because I was crying. It was so funny when he did it. I could not believe that it happened. Okay, I think that's it.
Yeah, so we're going to go to the outtakes.
Yeah.
Maybe if we have some.
There might be something.
And then we'll be back.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in a minute. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the outtake section for this episode of Beware the Board. I hope you're enjoying our review of Boys from County Hell so far. I really like this movie. I think it's really, really fun. But without further ado, let's get into the outtakes. This first clip is our reaction to the cold open. Sorry to interrupt your conversation about linguistics, but
She's just
She
bleeding.
bleeding out of her nose?
Yeah. A lot.
Ah!
Now he's bleeding out of his
Oh!
eye.
Whoa, 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 whoa!
It's a perfectly normal thing.
What the fuck is this, Ben?
They're leaking.
They are leaking. Oh, stop.
When you
Stop.
get old, you
Stop.
start leaking.
Stop. No, shut your mouth, bro. They're just fully just leaking out of every orifice of their body?
Well, I think their blood's being summoned somewhere.
Summoned?
Well, it's being drawn somewhere. That wasn't like a normal reaction.
This next clip is me realizing what kind of film this is. Oh, it's a fucking vampire movie.
Remember when I said it was on brand, Bob? Get fucked.
It's a vampire movie. An Irish vampire movie. That's so cool.
I loved you going, yeah, I'm sure it's an Irish movie. It's on brand. No, it's on brand for this season.
Yeah.
Twice in a row. Remember Lisa Frankenstein?
Twice in a row. This next clip is my reaction to one of the most uncomfortable scenes in the entire film. Oh, he's gonna start pissing blood.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Oh, god damn. No, that's gross. I can't do that. I can't. No, I actually, I can't. Oh, okay.
Oh, now it's all blood.
Nope. Mm-mm.
You're okay, Bob. It's done.
No, I don't like that. That made me so uncomfortable. Fuck that. I never thought I'd have a fear of pissing.
Well, that's a thing that can actually happen to you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the outtakes. Do we have any announcements, Benji?
Well, I don't know when our next holiday is, so I'm not gonna.
What's on the
announce that.
list?
I don't know, man.
I don't know either. We should find out.
We probably should. Are we going to?
No,
Eventually.
not when it's the day before and we have to record the episode.
We don't plan these out well. So I guess I'm just gonna do our usual spiel. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, other podcast-specific platforms. If you're checking us out on any of those, please give us a quick review or rating. That's really how we get seen on those platforms, and it really helps us out. However, if you want to be a real bro, you can recommend it to your drinking buddy. That's probably a great way to spread the podcast around.
Get drunk and listen to us talk about horror movies.
Or stoned.
Or stoned. It's legal some places, not
Yeah.
here.
Otherwise, One of the other big places to check us out is YouTube, which isn't the best for audio-only content, but has some interesting tools you'd like. First of all, there's a bell button, which lets you get notified whenever we post something out of our usual Friday format, such as this episode, which is coming out
someday.
Maybe in 2 years.
No, we're not doing that. Those are the only ones we're ever doing that with. And it's because you refuse to record them. I have offered to record those episodes multiple times, and you said, nah, we'll do it later.
I don't know what you're talking about. So bell button. But I think the really big thing with YouTube that's like a cool tool is the search button on our channel page, because that lets you search for movie titles so you can see if we've covered something. However, the big thing that we like about YouTube is you guys can like subscribe to our channel, like videos, stuff like that. It's cool to see.
It's good motivation, but also, like, you know, we like to see when videos do well, so we go, okay, maybe we should do something more like this episode, or more like this other piece of content we made. It helps
Maybe
us.
we should pray to the algorithm.
Well, sometimes we do get saved by the algorithm. Some of those episodes have a lot of views, dog.
I think because people think they're full
Movies, yeah. Which, sorry to disappoint.
Otherwise, other big thing with YouTube is it's one of the two major places to communicate with us at. You can do that in the comment section of a specific video if there's something you want to talk to us about in that episode. Or you can go over to Twitter, X, whatever, @BewareTheBoard, and go chat up Bob. Maybe discuss the lore from your hometown about vampires. I'm sure
we have lore here.
Interested to hear that.
We should watch a horror movie that has to do with something from here.
Appalachia?
Yeah. We can find something.
That's cool.
That's a good category. We can call it hometown or something. Or home.
Loveland Frogman.
Not the Loveland Frogman. I was thinking, what, the Little Green Men? Because that's from around here.
Yeah. We got nonsense ones.
We got some funny ones.
I guess Mothman. That's in Appalachia.
That is one. We like
Anyways,
Mothman here.
Go chat up Bob.
Like Ben said, check us out on Twitter @BewareTheBoard. It's where we post updates about the show, information about the show. Basically, if there's anything you know about the show, it goes on our Twitter. On Mondays, I post a spoiler post for that week's worth of episodes, which I'm going to change it. So for a long time, I've done a movie cover that is hidden by like the sensitive warning feed thing. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tweet out, and this is just something more for you guys than it is for like us, but it's also just to like drive engagement because I think it would be fun. I'm going to tweet out basically a riddle of pictures. I did it for it actually before it came out, but I tweeted out a picture of Tim Curry, a TV from the 90s, in a book, and said, guess what it is? Some people got it. It was good. But I think that that's more fun than me just telling you.
Or you do it in emojis too.
I could do emojis. I could do a lot. Basically, I'm going to put a post out every Monday for that week's worth of episodes, which is a riddle or something to solve to figure out what we're watching if you were to watch it before we do. So whenever you listen to the episodes, you don't get any spoilers or be vague about stuff. You know what we're talking about. Then on Fridays or whatever other day an episode goes live, I always post a link to the episode whenever it goes up. So if you ever miss an upload or want to know someone up, there's always a link on our Twitter. Last thing, we make short form content for the show. Ben and I have committed, or at least decided, we're going to try and do 2 a week. Probably.
Wait, we decided on 2 a week?
Yeah.
Oh.
I decided on 2 a week.
Oh,
that's what we talked about.
Maybe Bob decided this and I was kind of along for the ride.
I'm going to try to do them pretty consistently on Mondays and Wednesdays, and then Friday is the normal episode release, is what I'm going to aim for.
Not sure when that's going to start, though.
Probably this week, hopefully. But what I was about to say is, I told you at the start of the episode, but I moved to Instagram recently. So all the stuff that I'm putting on Instagram is also going on Twitter, but it's not going to be permanent. It'll be on in our story, essentially.
Yeah. And then we're trying to post other places, too.
Mm-hmm. That, too. But, yeah, so the big thing for short form is we have Instagram for Reels, if you're into that kind of content. There'll also be other content on Instagram. I haven't fully decided what I'm going to do yet, but I do want to post some other stuff there.
You can do the picture hints there as well.
Yeah, which that would take a while, but I could get there. And then there is TikTok, which is also just short form video content. And then also YouTube Shorts. Once again, all three of those places, all of our short form content goes there. So if you're interested in short form and want to support the show, check us out on Instagram @BewareTheBoard, Twitter @BewareTheBoard, TikTok @BewareTheBoard, and YouTube @BewareTheBoard. It's almost like we came up with our own name, so we have our URLs for everything.
Yeah.
We need to get bewaretheboard.com. We should look into that.
I don't know how we did that, but sure.
I don't know.
Anyways, is that it?
I think so.
All right, well, we'll see you guys on Friday.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next time.